48 teams. So the next World Cup will go from 32 to 48 teams. Africa gets 9 slots. South America will only get 6. Europe gets 13. So in terms of the recognition of the brand of football that is being played in Africa, that is in fact significant that FIFA sees that. But more importantly, they're also seeing the consumption power of Africa, right? 2 of the world's fastest growing economies are in Africa. FIFA needs Africa at the World Cup for economic reasons as well as the football.
But you're not taking into account the size of the confederation. The South American Confederation is it's almost 50% are going to the World Cup each and every time. Africa has 5 out of 54. It's the largest confederation. And that representation means it's much, much harder to actually develop a run in the World Cup and develop a consistency. So I think there's a lot more to it. You can't just sort of say that, oh, they've had 5. It's the same as South America, and South America has won 7. There are much more things to it than that. If you look at the distribution of the World Cup places throughout the World Cup, it's been discriminatory against Africa for many, many years.
Satish, for me, I think it's more important to analyze what we have done and how well we have done with the slots that we have been given. I mean, if you've been given 5 slots and you've never qualified past the quarterfinals, and you are talking about a continent that has 4 slots and has won the World Cup 7 times, it's not about the size of your confederations or the number of states that you have, but what have you done with the positions that you have? If you do an analysis of the number of slots per continent vis-a-vis the number of times they have won the World Cup, you'll see that Africa has done the poorest, if I would use that word. So we need to improve our performances if we want to get better representation. That's my view.
Okay, well, I am back. Okay. And let's do this. I will just ask my question, and just in case my Wi-Fi disappoints again, ID, you can go on. Give us the closing parts of your talk today. And Kweku, your system is stable, so you can take over from there just in case anything happens. But now, Nigerians would be interested to know how we are going to harness even this present situation that we are in to make sure that we can be part of that global football thing between now and November when Qatar will come up. What can we do in Nigeria to harness this Qatar 2022 frenzy and noise and everything? ID, over to you.
Yeah, you're a spectator just like me sitting at home watching the tournament. You're not there. I'm not there, right? So Nigeria's not there. We're watching from home. There are, from a corporate perspective, companies will find ways because they're not going to take the loss on this, right? So companies that would have normally had sponsorship programs, try to engage fans, they'll still try to do that, but on a smaller level. But as Nigerians, I guess we would need to regroup. Those that know much more about the football aspect of this on the pitch can weigh in there. You guys know much more than I do. Fellow parliamentarians can talk about that. But we really do need to recognize that the World Cup itself, as well as FIFA, is a commercial enterprise that happens to have football as a part of the commercial enterprise. FIFA as a corporation has never been healthier. I mean, this year, they're reporting revenues of $6.44 billion for the cycle between 2019 and 2022. FIFA is reporting $6.44 billion. The revenue has never been healthier. The winning team of the 2022 World Cup, the winning team of the 2022 World Cup will get a bonus of $50 million. France, which won the World Cup in 2018, received $38 million. So you can see that even the prize money has increased by 12%. But so FIFA has never been healthier. So we need to figure out a way in which we can, as a country, understand the commercial importance and value of being a part of this tournament. And I'll just close with this. In 1999 Champions League final, Bayern Munich was playing against Manchester United. And going to the 90th minute, Bayern had a 1-0 lead and surrendered 2 goals in extra time to lose the Champions League that year to Man U. The German parliament felt it was important enough to do an investigation into what happened, that their signature team, Bayern Munich, is the flagship team of the Bundesliga. This is as high as it gets in German football. They felt the need to launch an investigation. Why? Because it threatened a key sector of the economy. The Germans believe sports is a key sector of their economy. So to have their signature team collapse at such a level was shocking to everyone, and they needed to understand why. It is why the Germans spent $40 million building a resort for the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. So prior to the World Cup, the Germans go to inspect the facility and they say, you know what? We're going to build our own facility in a town called Bahia. And they spent $40 million building a facility that they know they can only use for 1 month. After 1 month, you're not going to take the hotel, you're not going to take that facility back to Germany. It's going to stay there. But it was worth it to them to spend $40 million through sponsors on a facility to see if that would launch the German team to victory, and it did. Germany did win the 2014 World Cup. I'm not saying it's because of the resort, but I am saying that it highlights and emphasizes the value the countries put on the sporting sector, and we need to find a way to do the same thing.
There can't be a better conclusion to our conversation tonight. So your final thoughts, parliamentarians, final thoughts, 1 minute each, and then we round off, starting from Satish. Satish, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah. Okay, well, I agree with that. I think you do need to look at developing facilities, but my disagreement would be I wouldn't do it in Brazil or anywhere that hosts the World Cup. I would do it in Nigeria. And I stand by what I said. I do think there needs to be more places for African teams, and you need to actually look at the arguments as to why there haven't been. Without that, you won't have the economic platform to develop.
Kwekutando.
Sports as a key sector of the economy. I think my thinking is changing from what ID just said. Perhaps if we begin to place a lot of emphasis on the value that we get from football and begin to look at it from the business and commercial perspective, maybe we'll then be able to organize the administrative side of football to fit in to produce the commercial effects. That's what I'm getting from what he's saying today.
Fantastic. Onome?
Okay, for me, I would generally say that my own take is we need to take the commercial part of football more seriously. We need to stop the 100% dependency on government to fund. I think football is big business, and if we package it properly, we'll make more than enough resources of it to enable us to grow the sports to the level we wish to see it get to.
Why?
Yes, I quite support what the parliamentarians have said. We should endure and enforce and make sure we develop our sports, our football in particular, to the level that we will be able to get the benefits of football. As we are seeing now that football is money. So we should concentrate on commercial aspect of it, and then we should build everything together and raise our standard of football administration in this country.
ID, your final thoughts.
So it is
your message for Nigerians.
I am, like a lot of you, I sat there and watched the seconds tick away as we slowly missed qualification against Ghana. It was very difficult to watch. But I would say this, I would just encourage Nigerians to support their African brothers at the World Cup. We've got 5 teams from Africa, a lot of great football to be played. So though it was painful for Nigerians, I still would encourage everyone to go and support the other teams from Africa who will be there. Maybe this is the time that we make it to the semifinals. But again, congratulations to the 5 teams that made it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, parliamentarians. All those in favor of supporting our African brothers at Qatar 2022 in our own absence, say aye.
Aye.
All those against, say nay. The ayes have it.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
I bring you wonderful news. The village headmaster is coming back to your screen.
Rugged, yes, school for Ija, I don't know for you.
Second, it's called Abuja Village. We know happy at all.
And I know that even you too, you are getting a lot of orders. Hey,
I love you so much.
And how did I give you the impression?
50-year anniversary.
You mean anniversary?
I talk with that now.
By Globe.
Today's menu will be Moroccan couscous. To make the Moroccan couscous, you need couscous itself, potatoes, parsley. You need cauliflower or broccoli, olive oil, string beans, spring onion, salt, tomatoes. You need carrots and the white radish onions. And we have the Chinese onions as well. We have zucchinis, or some people call it maru. You need the eggplants, your atarudo. This is the pepper, garlic, and the ginger. And you need chicken. This chicken, you can see the difference between the one that is seasoned and the one that is not. After washing your hands is to get the ingredients one after the other. I will start by preparing the couscous soup. I'll take a little bit of olive oil. We preheat the pan. The garlic and ginger will go in first. As it's sizzling, we put the chicken. I put the chicken breast and the slice. We bring it off the fire. onion goes in first. Then add the pepper, the green pepper, that is the green chili, the red pepper and the yellow ataru. Leave it for just some few seconds or minute, just a minute. Then you add the tomatoes. You can apply the stock now, any stock of your choice. Add in the chicken so that it will go, the seasonings will go in with. When the oil starts coming on, then you add the carrots, because carrots and potatoes are harder to cook, so you first put them. You can add water now and cover it for some time. As it is sizzling, let's start with the couscous, the preparation of the couscous. I'm sprinkling some salt inside and a little oil as well. I'll stir it so that it won't stick together when you're steaming it. Then I will add the Chinese onions. So as it is steaming, the cauliflower will go in. Zucchinis, they don't take long to cook. Stirring in. As you know, it's a quick cuisine, so you have to manage the time. You could as well have your soup under and the couscous above. You can make a hole in the middle so that the steam can just easily come up. I'll open this. While the stew is going, I'll just put it like this. As you can see, the steam will start coming on. A little bit of water the more on it so that it will soften it. Then you add the zucchinis. The eggplants can go in now. You stir it. Sprinkle the cabbage. As you know, cabbage, no matter how much you put, it will go down as it cooks. Then allow it to simmer for some time as well. As you can see, it's sizzling. Everything is married together, and you see how the color comes out. You have the
As Ramadan enters into last 10 days, what are the benefits of the days and what are Muslims expected to do in these days? These and more will be our focus on Panorama, coming to you from Sokoto Network Center. I am Sadia Umradi. The Minister of Environment has been directed to fashion out effective strategies towards addressing all concerns raised by partners and stakeholders in respect of the Ogoni cleanup so that the project can be delivered in good time. President Muhammad Buhari gave the directives in an audience with the Minister Muhammad Abdullahi on the state of affairs in the ministry. Adamu Sambu has details.
The meeting held behind closed doors was the first since the redeployment of Muhammad Abdullahi to the Ministry of Environment as substantive minister. It was therefore an opportunity for the minister to bring the president up to speed on the level of implementation of key priority projects being executed by the Environment Ministry. The hydrocarbon pollution remediation project, otherwise called the Ogoni Cleanup, is one of them.
It's a major priority of this government, and particularly based on the undertaking and the promises made by Mr. President to deliver a very clean ecosystem for the Ogoni people. So I have updated the President on that, and the key understanding is that we are focused on delivery. He has given us marching orders to ensure that the concerns raised by the partners, particularly Shell, UNEP, AGIP, Total, and other parties, and indeed the stakeholders themselves of the Ogoni land, that those concerns are addressed to ensure that the process goes unhindered. We are directed, particularly by the President, to be very focused and fix our eyes on the ball to ensure there are no distractions, that we deliver.
Issues relating to the Great Green Wall were also discussed with the Nigerian leader, who is the president of the Conference of the Pan-African Heads of State and Government on the project.
So Mr. President has directed us to hold Council of States, of member states of the Pan-African Great Green Wall, to hold a meeting on the 16th of June this year, to prepare an agenda for the eventual meeting of the Conference of Heads of States and Government, to, one, look at the budget and strategic plan for this year for the member states, and then to ensure that we have modalities to access the over 16.2 billion euros that is available from funding partners of the project to support the processes of ensuring that we have a long belt across the Sahel to stop this desert encroachment.
President Buhari also used the opportunity to reaffirm his administration's commitment towards planting 25 million trees across Nigeria.
He has agreed at a later date to launch a multifaceted national tree planting campaign where the governors will be involved so that they can also replicate same in their states, and as well as local government chairmen and traditional rulers. And of course, I brief Mr. President on AgriStar project. Essentially, the program is focused on making uncultivatable land to be cultivatable, to make sure that people have access to clean water, to make sure that there will be more usage of our land resources.
The president directed the minister to engage the World Bank, which earmarked $700 million to fund the project, which involves dry land remediation and management in the 19 northern states and the FCT. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari says no responsive and responsible government can ignore the role of religious and traditional rulers in tackling insecurity in the country. Speaking at an iftar dinner with religious and traditional rulers, the president said his administration will continue to count on the invaluable advice and guidance of members of the relevant institutions towards improving the current security challenges in the country. He said moving Nigeria forward remains a collective responsibility, and therefore urged leaders at all levels to continue meaningfully in making the country a better place.
Today, insecurity is one of the greatest challenges facing Nigeria's existence. This administration has invested more resources than any other to tackle insecurity. We have acquired advanced equipment for our armed forces and the police to strengthen their capacity to confront terrorism and banditry. We have made adequate budgetary allocations for security. Whatever the security agencies request, I made it available to them immediately. But insecurity is a worldwide phenomenon. The cure and the answer is for all sections of society to do their bit and confront the criminals head-on. The success of our armed forces and other security forces also depends on intelligence about the activities of bandits and terrorists.
Oni of Ife Oba Adeyeye Onita Ogunwusi and the General Secretary of the Nigerian Association of Nigeria, Joseph Daramola, thanked the President for demonstrating his high sense of responsibility in the discharge of duties. The Oni in particular commended the federal government for the way and manner the COVID-19 pandemic was promptly responded to and
from the north all the way to the southern Nigeria. We will continue to pray for you. We will continue to do what we are supposed to do. Any key decision making in this country, one way or the other, you carry us along. On this note, I want to use this medium to say show appreciation for you and to you, and keep up the good work.
First Lady of Nigeria has enjoined the spouses of the Nigerian legislators to continue using their soft power in convincing their husbands to support more gender-friendly legislations to ensure more women participation in governance and other decision-making processes. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports that the First Lady stated this during the breaking of Ramadan fast in honor of the female legislators as well as the spouses of the Nigerian lawmakers and other Nigerian women.
Distinguished guests, today's iftar is deliberately planned to create an opportunity to dine and understand ourselves as wives, mothers, and leaders of this nation. Our role as partners in progress is key to the development of this nation, particularly in fostering peace and unity in the country. I would therefore like to encourage us all not to relent on our efforts and support each other, especially in making the right choices in choosing our leaders. When we work together and understand each other, our future and the future of our children becomes secure.
We have laughed and chatted with one another. We've exchanged numbers. We've interacted with one another, especially at this time, a time of devotion, a time of meditation, and a time of prayer. A lot of things come up in our minds for ourselves, our families, and our nation.
Participants from all walks of life, including the Minister of Women Affairs, Pauline Talin, and the wife of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Salamatu Bajagbiamila, promised to continue stirring the advocacy of women emancipation in Nigeria, particularly the realization of the Affirmation Action.
Also about accepting women's thoughts and viewpoints. In this regard, it gives me great pleasure knowing that the 9th Assembly has pushed for 2 landmark bills, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act and the Gender Equality Opportunity Bill. We want you to please handhold us from here. As our women come out to aspire, let it not stop at aspiration. Let it transit to candidacy, and from candidacy to delivering women who will effectively represent Nigeria.
Annual iftar was also attended by the former First Lady of the Niger Republic, Lala Malika Yusuf. There is more on Panorama. Please stay with us.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
Glad you're still there. Muslims have been urged to use the last 10 days of Ramadan to intensify prayers for Almighty Allah to bring to an end security challenges bedeviling Nigeria, especially the northern part of the country. This came to the fore at the Ramadan lecture organized by Islamic Medical Association, Usman Donfodi University, Sokoto, and Teaching Hospital. Sheikh Muhammad Detti reports.
The Ramadan lecture had in attendance academics, Islamic scholars, medical practitioners, and students. The lecture focused on reaping the benefits of the last 10 days of Ramadan in the midst of economic and security challenges. An Islamic scholar, Mustafa Sidi At-Tahiru, called on Muslims to intensify worship during the last 10 days of Ramadan, stressing the need for self-evaluation. He advised Muslims to engage in profitable business devoid of riba and be kind to their relations.
But also in please extending our good relationship to our parents, to our relatives, to our neighbors. Let us be our brothers keepers. By doing that, inshallah, we will have more from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and more blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Professor Suleiman Abdullahi Menesara of College of Health Science, Usman Danfodiyo University, Sokoto, said the event is aimed at enlightening the Muslim Ummah on the blessings of the last 10 days of Ramadan.
To bring Muslims together and also to remind them what they have been doing, what they are supposed to do, and to continue doing, and also for them to educate themselves about the challenges that has come over there.
Other speakers include Chairman of the chapter of the association, Abubakar Sadiq, who highlighted the role of medical practitioners aimed at bringing succor to the needy to cushion their flights. In Sokoto, Show Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
Last 10 days of Ramadan is the most important part of the month in which Muslims are expected to redouble their act of worship. Now, with me in the studio to discuss on the significance of the last 10 days is the chairman, Sokoto State Zakat and Endowment Commission, Malam Muhammad Lawal Maiduki.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
All right, so sir, let me start with what is the significance of the last 10 days?
Well, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, walhamdulillah rabbil alameen, wa salatu wa salam ala man la nabiyya ba'da. We first of all appreciate NTA for taking time to discuss on this very important aspect of our dear life that lies in it, our continuous existence, our security, and our peaceful coexistence. The last 10 days of Ramadan look like, if I can give you a short example, everybody knows when there's a quiz, the last round of a quiz, when there is a football match, the last round or the last 10 minutes of the match, or the extra time. So I think people can easily understand how it looks when I give this kind of example for those who are used to quiz or sports. Now, for Muslims, when it comes to the last 10 days of Ramadan, it's like you are coming to the last time of what you have no certainty, because you are not sure that next year you will still be alive or healthy to observe Ramadan itself. So that is the first challenge. The second is that it gives you an opportunity, because there is a hadith of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, three kind of people, they may not have enjoyed the rahmah of Allah. These are people who among them find themselves in Ramadan from the beginning to the end of Ramadan, but they have not been lucky to be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They may not be forgiven for life. Now, if you know of this, then you are in the last 10 days of Ramadan, then you have to do all it takes so that you attract the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for you to be forgiven and to be delivered from hellfire. And one good thing that people should know, Allah does not break his promise. When Allah made a pledge, when he make a promise or a pronouncement, he fulfills it, no matter what you do. but Allah will give you. So if all of us are lucky to be forgiven by Allah and to be admitted into Al-Jannah Firdaus, that means we have attained what we have come for in this life. So when it comes to the last 10 days of Ramadan, there are some specific acts which the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us. One is you increase in all your activities of obedience to God and being humble and be good in charity as well, as I will mention later. But one of the practice we all know is that of the itikaf. Itikaf is a practice that when someone will seclude himself in a mosque and he will only be busy with prayers after he has must attend all his domestic responsibility. If you have a wife or if you have a job, you have to take a leave. If you have a wife, you have to provide for the wife. If you have workers under you, you must have satisfied all that is required for you to have given them. Now you are free from all other things that somebody's right is on you. And now you can go to the mosque. You pray in the mosque, you read Quran, you make tasbih, you make darud, that is salat al-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you stand firmly in prayers and putting your foreheads on the ground in sujood, praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his rahmah to you, to your family, to your leaders, to your nation, and to everyone that is concerned. And now you have left so many things of this dunya. You don't see what is haram, you don't hear what is haram, and your relationship is with Allah. It's like you have come to the door of Allah and sit down and say, Allah, I want you to forgive me. I want you, Allah, to accept. I need so and so for this dunya. Allah, give me. I need so and so for the Yawm al-Akhirah, that is for the hereafter. Please give me. So these are the kind of things that now you have devoted yourself, to God Almighty. This is known in so many, religion.
All right, so, before we go further, is there any act of worship apart from the itikaf Muslims can do?
Yeah, that's I mentioned this itikaf. When you go itikaf itself, it has a lot of kind of worships you do in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I said reading the Quran, making prayers, doing the dua, because dua itself, is an obligation, it's a religious obligation. Now, in this last 10 days of Ramadan, you have Laylatul Qadr. You have the Eid day at the end. You have the day for Zakatul Fitr. And you give a charity. It is 83 years worth of charity. If you give 10 naira, it's like you have been donating 10 naira for 83 years consecutively, non-stop. Now, for this, it's a great opportunity. It's an opportunity that today, if you look at world, even those who make promotion, they make promotion when you buy a recharge card, you get double what you do. This is for just dunya. But for Muslim, Ramadan, the last 10 days of Ramadan are like this. They're like a promotional. They are like giving you a bonus. They are like giving you last chance to do what you are supposed to do so that you attain the maghfirah, that is, you attain the blessings and forgiveness of God Almighty. And an opportunity for you to request from Allah, to seek for his forgiveness, and to request the goodness you need for your family and for your nation and for your leaders as well. Therefore, in the Laylatul Qadr, which is not known, of course, but it's in the 10 days, but the specific date is not known. But if you are wise enough, you use every night, and definitely you will hit the day. And in that day, you are expected to make some supplication and a special prayer. Because the wife of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Aisha, asked him that if I find myself in Laylatul Qadr, what should I do, Ya Rasulullah? He said, one of the prayers you do, Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Oh Allah, you are merciful. You love forgiving. I request you, Allah, to forgive me. And if you have a late father, or you have a late mother, or even if they are alive, you now you make sure you use that opportunity to fervently pray for that your mother, or for that your father, or your husband, or your wife, or your children, or your neighbors, or your our leaders.
All right, sir, we have to cut it short right here. Thank you very much for coming on Panorama this afternoon. All right, moving on. Zamfara state government has reaffirmed its commitment to settle medical bills of terrorist attack victims across the state with a view to mitigating their suffering. The State Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Faiga Ahmed, stated this while presenting cash assistance to one of the survivors of the recent terrorist attack in Bungudu local government area of the state, who is currently receiving medical attention. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
Some terrorists recently attacked Tungarmasu community in Bungudu local government area of Zamfara state, where they killed many people and destroyed property worth millions of naira. One of the victims, Darau Ismail, who was shot in her private part and also sustained a fracture on her right leg, is currently receiving treatment at Yerima Bakura Specialist Hospital, Gusau.
She was brought to this facility with injury. In fact, her vulva has been destroyed completely, and she sustained fracture on the femur, on the right femur. So we have been seeking for help.
This prompted Zamfara state government to settle all the medical bill of the patient, as well as donated some cash to her. Zamfara State Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Paika Ahmad, presented the donation on behalf of the state government.
Although we have paid the hospital bills in full, we have paid for all the surgeries because she requires 2 surgeries apparently from the discussion I had with the doctors. But we are also here to give her some money. The money is just to support her financially.
The commissioner reiterated Zamfara state government's commitment to continue to settle medical bills of all victims of terrorism across the state. Meanwhile, Zamfara State Ministry for Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has presented cash and some other relief items to other patients currently receiving treatment at the hospital.
There are many items inside that bag. We have soft and milk, as well as maclean and rafa and other items.
The patients, who are full of gratitude to Zamfara State government for the concern, also prayed for the restoration of lasting peace in the state and the country as a whole. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
And for sports news, let's join our sports desk for sport update.
The newly appointed Nigeria's under-17 national team coach Nduka Mbade has set his sight on getting a good result in the regional Wafubi qualifier. Mbade worked as assistant to coach Manu Garuba, which won silver medal in the 2013 under-17 team in Algeria and went ahead to win the 2013 FIFA under-17 World Cup in the United Arab Emirates. His immediate task as coach of the Golden Eaglets is to qualify the under-17 team for Wafu B taking place in Ghana, after which Algeria hosts the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. Meanwhile, 6 volleyball teams will begin hostilities Friday in the first phase of the Division 2 League in the Jolly Yame Stadium in Jalingo, Taraba State. The event, which will run from 22nd to 30th of April, is in conjunction with the Volleyball Federation of Nigeria and the Taraba State government. Matches that will be decided Friday include Adama Spikers taking on Bayonet Spikers. Plateau Rocks host Benue Spikers, while Taraba Spikers have their hands full against Chief of Naval Spikers. And finally, Russian world number 8 Andrew Rublev says Wimbledon's ban on Russian and Belarusian players is complete discrimination and illogical. Rublev is one of the 3 top 10 players, along with fellow Russia Daniil Medvedev and Arina Sabalenka of Belarus, who cannot play at this summer. Wimbledon made the decision to ban Russian and Belarusian players because of the invasion of Ukraine. In view of the development, the Belarusian Tennis Federation is seeking legal advice about the decision made by the All England Lawn Tennis Club and the Lawn Tennis Club Association. With sport updates, Clement Olonutoba, NT News.
That is Panorama this afternoon. Remember to connect with NTA, Stand Against Rape and Rapists. Good afternoon.
NTA. You can't beat the rich.
I bring you wonderful